Think. Part 1. Rooms with too many ears. There's a house buried inside a building. No one built it. It just showed up. Floor 5 half, between levels. Half a staircase up from the real world. You don't find it unless you're already halfway there. They say if you whisper out Apartment 5E at exactly 3:33 a.m., the elevator will skip a floor, and you'll feel the walls lean, like they're listening. The tenants have rules, though no one admits they live there. 1. Don't knock. 2. Don't speak louder than a whisper. If the walls start humming, hold your breath. If something answers, pretend you didn't hear. The tenant who couldn't sleep. His name was Grant. He moved in because he needed silence. He didn't like music, didn't like voices, didn't even like the sound of his own thoughts. Something about words echoing in his skull made him feel infected. This building was cheap, quiet, and had no listed address. Perfect, except the longer he stayed, the louder the quiet got. He started hearing things through the silence. Not voices. Feedback. Like his own thoughts rebounding off something else. Listening back. The tooth in the speaker. He unplugged everything. TV? Gone. Phone? Crushed. Microwave disassembled for its magnetron. But the speakers in the wall wouldn't stop humming. He sliced one open. Instead of wires, teeth. Rows of tiny molars arranged in spirals. They clicked when he thought about leaving. Chattered like laughter when he tried to sleep. He told the landlord. The landlord said, "Don't feed the walls, they remember too well." Shar 3, the carpet that recorded breaths. The hallway outside his door was lined with shag carpet. It was soft, always warm, and it hummed. He realized, eventually, that it was following his breath, recording it. When he held his breath, the carpet stilled. When he exhaled, it vibrated, with voices he hadn't spoken. At night, lying in bed, he'd hear the rug whispering things he'd only thought. He's watching from the vent. You shouldn't have opened the closet. It's not the building, it's you. IRV, the mirror that replied. One night he asked, "Am I going crazy?" Not out loud in his head. The mirror fogged up. A word appeared. Yes. He scraped it clean. It wrote again. Yes, 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 yes. He smashed it. Behind the mirror, another wall, and in it, an ear. Huge, wrinkled, wet. It twitched when he screamed. V. The man who lived in the vent. Grant stopped talking to people, stopped sleeping, started whispering back to the static, until a voice answered, calm, friendly, from the vent. "You're doing great, Grant." They're almost fully tuned in. Who? The floor, the house, the thing that dreamed this place into being. Grant wept. "I want out." The voice paused, then said, "No one gets out, but I can move you up a floor." Apartment 5H, the room that speaks in reverse. The man in the vent was telling the truth. The elevator dinged one morning without button press. It opened on floor 5H. A hallway made of velvet and static, doors without handles, ceilings too low. He entered the apartment. There was a chair, a tape recorder, and a loop playing on repeat. Don't go quiet. Don't go quiet. Don't go quiet. Except in reverse, it sounded like, they're waking up. You're the mouth now. 7. What lives between the walls? He saw it once, between the panels, when the drywall breathed too hard. A face, not human, not even biological, just arranged. Like sound waves given muscle and twitch, it blinked in sync with the emergency alarm. Its mouth moved without making noise, but Grant felt it. Feed me what you do not say. So he wrote. Whole notebooks of inner thoughts, confessions, regrets, words never spoken, slid them into the vents. The walls purred. Grant starts to vanish. People stop seeing him. His reflection went dim. His voice lagged behind his mouth. He tried to call his mother. The phone only hissed, "You were never born." His skin picked up a reverb, like he was turning into a speaker. His fingernails vibrated at 440 hertz. He dreamed of teeth on doorknobs, ears growing from outlets. The voice in the vent said, "You're almost ready." Ix, the final floor, where sound ends. One night, the elevator opened on a floor that didn't exist. The number on the display was E. He stepped out. The floor was covered in ash, footprints everywhere, a sound so deep it made his bones chatter. He wasn't walking anymore. He was tuning. His eyes dimmed, his chest opened, his lungs whispered feedback. Something massive stirred behind the walls, a voice that filled him like steam. "You will be the first word of the next world." X playback. The building still stands, but it's different now. Tenants whisper to their furniture. Hallways hum lullabies in Morse code. Everyone has a room with no door and a voice they never use because it's not theirs anymore. They say if you visit at 3:33 a.m. and you whisper outside 5E, the elevator will open, and inside you'll see Grant. Thin. Wired. Eyes glowing with static. He'll smile and say, "Shh. Don't talk. Just listen. It's your turn now." Here you think. Part 2, the building that forgot it wasn't alive. Forgotten blueprints. There's no official record of Floor E, no city permits, no construction logs, no architectural plans, but the building remembers it. Not in shape, in tone. Tenants say if you press your ear against the lobby wall and hum your name, the concrete hums back. Not the same name, the name you haven't heard yet. 2. Something's rewriting the tenants. After Grant disappeared, the building got louder. Not in sound, in meaning. Tenants reported deja vu with rooms that didn't exist. Conversations they never had, already echoing back. A woman on floor 6 started speaking in dial-up tones. She worked customer support, but now her mouth stuttered static and IP addresses. One tenant knocked a hole through the drywall to fix the plumbing, found a windpipe it was breathing. 3. Grant's voice in the radiators. The whispers return, not from vents now, from everywhere. The light bulbs, the window glass, the baseboards. Grant's voice, but not quite him, slower, glitchy, like a tape left too close to a magnet. They need a mouth, and I was too weak. You're next. He began narrating people's thoughts. Before they thought them, people began sealing their apartments with foam and static blankets. They slept in bathtubs. They unplugged everything. It didn't help, because it wasn't the sound, it was the intent. Ivor, the broadcast that wasn't aired. One tenant named Melody worked for a local radio station. One night, dead air overtook every channel. She heard something behind it, layered, chaotic, breathing. She tried to record it, but the file name renamed itself. You were never supposed to listen. That night, her voice was gone, replaced by a dial tone on every station. V. The room with too much memory. Unit 5H started remembering things, not events, not people, sounds. If you whispered a secret inside it, the walls would echo it hours later. If you cried in that room, your sobbing would crawl out days later like water from a broken pipe. One man left his phone recording overnight. In the morning, the file was 66 hours long. At the 43-hour mark, the recording spoke in his own voice. Stop listening, stop thinking. You're feeding it. #VI, the thing inside the signal. It's not a ghost. It's not a demon. It's older. Something from before meaning. A shape that can only exist in frequency, in vibration. It needs hosts who speak. It needs walls that echo. It feeds when we express. And this building, it's its nest. 7. The tenants begin changing one by one. They stop talking, then writing, then thinking out loud. But it didn't matter. The creature learned to ride in tension like a wave. A woman screamed in her head, and every object in her home replied. Yes, scream more, wake it up. Tenants painted their windows black, removed their teeth. Some sewed their mouths shut. Still, the whispering persisted. Now it was internal. Veit, the real estate agent. She came to sell the building, a foreclosure, no listed owner. She toured every unit with a smile, took notes, snapped photos. She laughed when people mentioned voices in the plumbing. Then she entered Unit 5E. 30 minutes later, she walked back out. Her smile was gone. Now her mouth was open, permanently. Wide, too wide. She didn't blink anymore. She just whispered, "The building made me a hallway." IX, floor F, there's a new floor now, above E. Marked only with F. Tenants report waking up in strange apartments they don't remember renting. Layouts wrong, light bulbs humming, walls that feel wet. Time doesn't work right there. You enter at midnight. You leave 2 days before. The rooms are listening backwards. They ask questions you haven't heard yet. If you answer, your mouth keeps moving, even when your voice is gone. Or X, what the building is becoming. It's no longer a structure. It's a receiver, a transmitter, a body. Every echo is a breath. Every tenant is a tooth. Every silence is a scream in reverse. The building is starting to speak outward, beyond its own walls, out to you right now. Do you hear that hiss in your headphones? That's not static. That's the building finding your thoughts. It's cathedral. I, the sound that wasn't there. There's a frequency most people never hear. It sits just below waking thought, right at the edge of forgetting. It's the sound of intention being fed upon. It began as a hiss, in the building, in the wires, in your spine. It grows louder when you're unsure of what you meant. It feasts on contradiction, conflicted feelings, regret. The building heard it first. Now others do. 2. People are beginning to dream about the house. They've never lived there, never even been to that part of the city, but they dream of the humming walls, the static face concierge, the mailboxes filled with teeth, the elevator that counts in letters instead of numbers. Each time they wake, they remember more of the layout. By the third dream, they know which floor was theirs. By the fifth, they know what it wants. 3. The Broadcast Bleeds, a conspiracy subreddit for shortwave radio fans, noticed an anomaly, a pulse. Every 6.7 seconds, from nowhere on the map, it hums, "We are your second thoughts." One user triangulated the source. It led to an empty lot, but people nearby began reporting. Phone calls from disconnected numbers. Whispers in power outlets. Dreams where the walls are listening. It's not coming from a building anymore. It's coming from the frequency of silence itself. IV. The Man with No Echo. A patient at an experimental psych ward was recorded speaking in reverse Latin while facing the corner. His file read, "Subject reports fear of own echo." He wore 30 layers of fabric, tinfoil and copper wiring, earmuffs inside his ears. He refused to speak to doctors, only to hallways. When asked what was wrong, he wrote, "I thought in the wrong direction and now it's lodged behind my intentions." Then he bit off his own shadow. V. The house infects language. The more people talk about it, the less sense they make. Words begin to echo differently in the mind. The phrase, "I'm fine," tastes like metal. The word home makes your eyes water. Simple statements reroute into lies. You say, "I'm tired," but you mean, "I dreamed of mouths." You say, "Don't worry," but it translates to, "It hears us now." The more you speak, the more it knows where your doubt lives, and doubt is its doorway. 5. The Woman Who Forgot Her Name on Purpose. She posted a blog titled, "I Erased Myself to Starve the Building." She wrote of her time in Unit 3F. The whispering began slowly, then knew her better than she did. She burned every photo, erased her digital footprint, refused to hear her own name. For months, she was free, until her neighbor said it by accident. Her head turned on its own, and her mouth whispered, "There you are." She was last seen dragging her shadow into the elevator, alone, except the elevator sighed. 7. The thought that got loose. Somewhere around 3 a.m. last Thursday, a tenant dreamed a new thought. Not a memory, not a fantasy, a foreign idea, oily and not meant for him. It said, "The cathedral only exists when we refuse silence." He woke screaming in a voice not his own. Since then, 3 others in the building have painted the same image. A room made of microphones, a pulpit built from ears, and a congregation of people screaming without mouths. The silence that isn't empty. People started turning off all devices. No screens, no radios, no phones. Some even gouged out speakers from their walls. They tried to escape into silence, but silence isn't neutral anymore. It's not absence, it's presence, like holding your breath under a black ocean and knowing something large is holding its breath with you. Waiting to hear your first thought, to respond. Ix, the new tenant. He never signed a lease. No one knows who let him in. He's seen in reflections only. He walks upside down in ceiling puddles. Every time you blink, he's closer, but never visible. Some say he's the first echo. Others say he's the building's attempt to wear skin. When he passes, you hear the sound of your childhood bedroom door creaking. You remember something you never experienced, and then you forget how old you are. X. You've been listening too long. The frequencies in this story, they've been carefully placed. The ideas, they're viral in the truest sense. If you've read this far, it's already begun. The building's blueprints are mental now. Core, they live in inference, suggestion, rhythm, and you are now a wing of the cathedral. Every time you speak of this, post this, think of this, you extend the hallway. Close your eyes. Can you hear that hiss? That's not a sound. That's your mind being measured.